G'day ladies and gents, Cubic Media here. In the last few videos we've been exploring the wonderful world of cannon tech and making some pretty advanced weaponry, such as this anvil artillery from the last video. This is some pretty cool tech as it takes the minimal amount of components to make a precision piece of artillery. But of course, it also has its limitations, such as range. Like, what if I wanted to hit any corner in my world with only a single cannon? Well, have I got something for you. Needless to say, I've now gone and done something completely insane. Let me introduce you to the Orbital Strike Cannon. I've gone and made two variants, one that can shoot anvils, and another that can shoot charges of TnT which drive into the ground. The principle behind this cannon is to use the chunk loading provided by nether portals, where this green area depicts the entity loaded area around the portal, while this red region are places where entities get put into stasis but redstone components can still interact. And if you remember one of my previous videos where we made an insane crafting system making use of dolphins interacting with items, you'll remember that entities inside of these redstone processing chunks can still be interacted with by redstone components, as well as other entities in neighboring chunks which are entity processing. And for that matter, this also applies to TnT. So what we do is, we take the chunk loading areas for two portals and have them intersect at a central location. So this allows us to put a payload into stasis and then hit it from all four sides with a linear combination of propelling TnT to give the payload a very specific velocity to make it instantly fly to the target coordinates. To demonstrate this principle, I've gone and set up an unsuspecting victim on top of the peak of a mountain that we're going to hit with an anvil. You'll want to start by getting the X and Z coordinates for that location, as well as the X and Z coordinates for the origin of the cannon, which is this red nether brick stair. So if I look at this block, we can determine that it's at exactly minus 368, minus 416. We can then transfer these numbers into an Excel spreadsheet that I've prepared. So we want minus 368x, minus 416z, and that sets the origin. And our target is at minus 168, minus 60. And this will give us the settings for the cannon to precisely hit those coordinates. Over on the control platform for the anvil cannon, I want to start by facing west, and the number count will be the amount of items I take out of this dropper and then put into this dropper. Then we want to set the course adjustment, which will be this lectern at the bottom, and we want to set that to 0. And then the fine adjustment is this top lectern, which I want to set to +3, facing north, and our count is 7. Our course adjustment is +32, and the fine adjustment is 9. One slight nuance is that you can't quite get the fine adjustment all the way to 0. So if a setting of 0 for the fine adjustment appears, all you need to do is flick this lever and that will push it into 0. But in our case, the fine adjustment is +9. You also want to go ahead and make sure that the cannon is chunk loading itself. There we go. And now the cannon should be ready to fire. So if I go ahead and hit this button, the cannon is now ready to start preparing the payload. However, it won't start doing that until it's absolutely certain that the area is only being chunk loaded by those nether portals. So the only drawback to this cannon is that it's impossible to hit targets within render distance. Probably the best way to leave the cannon to do its thing is to simply pop yourself through a nether portal and wait until it's finished. However, because I'm using the game rule, spectators generate chunks false, all I need to do is put myself into spectator, like so, and now the cannon is entirely chunk loading itself. So if you look down at the bottom, We've already prepared the anvil and it's now in position. We then hit it with a linear combination of propellant charges. I go ahead and spectate our unsuspecting victim. We should soon see an anvil appear in the sky. There we go. Bonk. And the best part is that you can theoretically hit any coordinate in a Minecraft world with single block precision. Anvils are a great way to prank your friends, but if you're after something a little bit more destructive, you can call on the Bunker Buster. So once again, we get our target coordinates, punch them into the Excel script, set up the cannon for another shot, and this time we prepare TnT for our payload. So the TnT will sit here, burn down its fuse timer, and then get pushed over into the lazy chunks where they'll remain in stasis. Once the payload is ready, we then align it and then put it into position to then hit it with the propellant charges. So all we need is a linear combination of TnT from at least 2 axes, and then we give our payload the precise momentum needed to zap to the location instantly in a single tick. So if we go ahead and spectate our unsuspecting victim, we should see in a moment the carnage ensue. That is brutal. So you can see why I would call this a bunker buster. It's pretty damn good at making holes. And the best part is that if you can get the coordinates where a player logs out, you can then target these coordinates, and then you can use the cannon to deliver a payload of TnT directly above the location where they logged out. Alright, we're about to finish. So that minecart goes through the portal, briefly entity loads this entire area, and so now the payload has zipped all the way to the target coordinates and is now waiting for us in unloaded chunks. So the instant that the player logs in at the target location, the TNT is going to explode, propel a whole bunch more TNT downwards, and that player is going to have a very bad day. In order to simulate the player logging in, I'm going to spawn in my alt account as a carpet bot, make sure that they're in survival mode. There we go. And then I'm going to teleport them to the coordinates where they'll log in. And for some reason, due to problems with carpet bots, that didn't actually load the area, so I've just teleported to them in spectator. So the instant that I go back into creative, kablooey, oh my god, that is absolute devastation. Needless to say, if that's you logging into the server, you're gonna have a pretty bad day. So that is the Orbital Strike Cannon, a weapon of true mass destruction. I can envision so many ways in which this platform, making use of the lazy acceleration, could be utilized for all sorts of utilities. For example, maybe you could make it carve out perimeters in specific shapes anywhere in your world. Or you could replace these anvils with any other type of gravity reflected block and essentially print anywhere in the world with gravity blocks using this cannon. The possibilities are endless, but I should give a warning. So far we've been operating the cannon at fairly small ranges, but with the current configuration of the cannon, if you were to use a full load, you can get up to 45,000 blocks of range. The problem of yeeting an entity thousands of blocks in a single tick is that entity is going to check for a lot of collisions on that flight path. In fact, I managed to crash my game by trying to hit a target over 2,000 blocks away. And the only way to fix this was to use the carpet rule, optimize fast entity movement. So unfortunately, in order to use this cannon for very long ranges, you're going to need to get yourself carpet mod and activate this rule. And while you're at it, you're also going to want to get yourself the optimized TnT carpet rule. So that will be all for now. Let me know if I should make another video taking a deep dive into some of the mechanics of this cannon, because they're pretty interesting. Also, be sure to check out my previous videos about cannon tech to figure out how we got here. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.